off to Salt Spring Island to see Jane Squier. That's about as nice a place as I can figure to have a greenhouse. Wow, this is beautiful. So Jane, this is your awesome greenhouse, and we're here on Salt Spring Island. I must say, I traveled the whole island this morning. Like, it doesn't take that long, but it is amazing. There's farm stands, there's sheep, there's more infrastructure. Like, your little town is awesome, but I can see why people love it, love visiting, love to live here. So this would be the most northern point of Salt Spring Island. Very cool. So your climate, I guess, what gardening zone are you in?
I don't know.
Is it 5 or something?
Oh no, it's high. It's like 9 or 8,
yep.
8, something like that.
But still, your winters, you were saying, especially the last few years, they've been a little bit colder than usual, or?
They have been. Like, I've lived here 30 years, yep. And the last 5 years, up to that point, I sized all my heating systems for -8.
Okay.
So that would be what the extreme was. But now it's -15. So we're ending up getting kind of difficult climatic situations where we get very warm periods during the winter where the plants start to leaf out and bud, and then all of a sudden we'll get -15 for 2 weeks or for a week, and so it's been really difficult on a lot of plant material. And you see, like, what happened in the Okanagan, we had not as severe as them, but we did have that kind of situation where some of the more vulnerable plants that we tend to grow here died back.
Yeah, geez.
And one of the other things that, like, often people in the prairies will talk about, oh yeah, right, the West Coast.
You got it easy. Yeah,
we got it easy, but there's a couple of things that we don't have it easy with. And I was a grower in Alberta, so I'm familiar. For 10 years, we set up a commercial hydroponic greenhouse business. So I'm familiar with the joys of winter sun.
Yeah.
Like, it's just amazing. But here, we tend to have very low light in the winter. We have a lot of rain. We might have mild weather, but humidity is super high. And the other thing that we have that makes it a little difficult is that we have the marine influence in our summer nights.
Okay.
So our summer nights are a lot cooler generally. And that sometimes interferes with some of these plants that want to, produce beautifully, but we haven't got enough heat hours.
Yeah.
So something like American pawpaw, which would grow perfectly in Ontario because they've got those hot nights, they have a cold winter, but here we can't get them to mature often because of these cold nights.
Yeah, this is all news to me, so we don't have it as bad as I figured in the prairies. You've got your set of problems too, right?
We all do.
I haven't tried that pawpaw outside, but I'm going to try a microclimate and see if I can get it to go in Saskatchewan. But but still, the benefits of a greenhouse, you have an amazing, huge gutter-style greenhouse that you've established over many years. Behind me, how many what kind of stuff do you have in here, Jane? It's amazing.
I have 35 varieties of citrus.
Wow. And
I have 4 varieties of avocado. I've got pistachio, jujube, pawpaw, passion fruit, Passiflora edulis, the purple fruit, pomegranates, tamarillo. I don't know, just lots of stuff. And I grow my veggies family, sort of stuff under the canopy of the trees.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, same concepts that maybe I've talked about with my Saskatchewan greenhouse that you're doing here. I mean, kind of all greenhouses are the same, and you're the master. I'm barely a master because you've done it for longer than I have, but thermal mass, you have multiple different thermal masses. We're going to go for a little tour. You have kind of a double glazing. You even use a special type of, what did you call it? A heat?
An energy curtain.
Energy curtain.
In the wintertime.
In the wintertime, yeah. So why don't we, I'll flip the camera around and we'll just do a walk through
and talk about stuff. So we talk about thermal mass, about anything you can do to sort of keep the heat in the greenhouse in the wintertime, or just to stabilize the temperature and the humidity. One of the ways that I use is it's called a hyper adobe wall. I do have a YouTube about this that's showing how we built it. But this is taking the fill that I had, like when I started this project with the citrus 11 years ago, I had been a hydroponic grower here for, I don't know, 15, 20 years or something. But so I had zero topsoil. Okay, so to make a place for the trees to grow, I had to dig holes into this subsoil, and I took half of it and made walls with it for thermal mass, and the other half mixed it with an amendment to create a nice growing environment for the trees. So with that hyper adobe system, you take onion mesh bags. There's
in long tubes, you were saying.
Yeah, I bought 3,000 foot roll of this stuff, and it's the right size to fit onto a 5-gallon bucket. So I would cut 25-foot lengths, tie a knot in the end, and then feed it onto a 5-gallon bucket with the bottom cut out of it. Yeah. And then I would hold it like this, or someone would hold it like this, and people would dump that straight fill, no amendment, just like taking the worst rocks out of it. And then
so anybody can do this with any kind of fill that they have, or does it have to be a certain amount of clay?
Well, the clay is great. You couldn't do sand, would just pour out of it, right? Yeah. So you'd have to have something sort
that
of
sticks it together.
Yeah. So clay, like for us who have clay, this is a perfect system.
Perfect.
And so again, we're looking at subsoil. Okay. Yeah. So you end up making this snake, or this, we'll call it a big fat snake of this fill. And then you take a tool, we made these tools to pound it, and then pound the sides, so you end up with a rectangular profile of compressed material. And then you put the next layer on top and compress it, and then you go as high as you want. This is probably maybe 3 layers. And then once you're finished with that compressing of the system, then you create an adobe mix. And I used my fill, bit of sand, chopped straw, a bit of boiled flaxseed, which kind of helps things bind, and a little bit of borax to stop the molds or whatever from growing.
Right.
And borax, of course, is something plants like too. So it's not a problem if you get a bit of leach. So you don't use that much anyhow.
Right. So you didn't even need a stucco wire or
zero. You just mud right on top of it. And so this wall here is six years old. I did this one by myself. I'm really good at it now. I can do it pretty quickly. If you start to get something growing on it, you can just spray it with borax and it'll take it back. And if it wears out anywhere, then I can just remud it.
Yep.
In patches. So on the back wall, on my north wall, it's about 4.5 feet tall. So that's my thermal mass, so that when my vents open, then in cold weather, if I'm just getting the temperature a little cooler, then the cold air will fall between the back wall and the adobe wall.
Right.
And then I'm getting a nicer airflow. And my adobe wall is stabilizing the humidity and the temperature on the north end.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. I figured that little space would just create a place where the cold air drops, but I get this air exchange.
Right. Very cool idea. And Jane was saying she has an even older adobe wall over there, but this to be 6 years in a humid greenhouse that's you're watering it, and for it to hold up that good. And again, if you have a problem, it's just you do kind of a finish coat.
It. Yeah.
That's amazing. All this thermal mass.
Okay, so then I'll show you other thermal mass.
Absolutely.
So I have 2 pools in the greenhouse, and this one has 3 uses. It's a rainwater catchment system. So this is 6 feet deep, 40 feet long, 7 feet wide, fully insulated everywhere. It's got actually a potable water liner too, if I decided I wanted to go super clean. And so this is rainwater catchment, a swimming pool, but also it is my heating system. So I have a wood gasifier, high efficiency wood gasifier outside, a hydronic system. So I'm bringing in heat to this pool, and I'm heating it in the winter time. And I'll bring this pool to about 24 centigrade. And I have a smaller pool over there that I'll take to 40 degrees centigrade.
That's
and
warm.
Then this is, it's always covered, so I'm not evaporating into this place. So I'm not upping the humidity with the pool. And so then I have circulation fans that just go across, pick up the heat, and circulate it through the greenhouse. Now, you know, this wouldn't work at minus 25 or 30, but it works at minus 15 here.
Yeah.
And so this is, I have double poly here, so I have almost no R factor. It's inflated poly. But what I do to hold my heat or reduce heat loss is I have an energy curtain from Svensson. It's a European company. And it's a fabric that pulls across at the 9-foot area here. And it reduces heat loss by 40%. And it's a woven fabric, so it means that the condensation doesn't happen there. I don't get drips on that. I get drips up on the condensation happens on the top plastic. So it makes it a nicer environment in here. The light can go through and it reflects and refracts. And so you still get some light.
And you were saying, so that's a manual thing you do throughout the winter and daily. So at night you pull it across, is that right?
Yeah, I pull it across. If we're at minus 15, I'll leave the energy curtain pulled across during that really cold period of time.
Like all day too, you mean?
All the time. And I just want to hold what heat I have. Plus, I don't want to lose when I'm circulating.
Yeah, right.
So then if the weather's nice, and let's say I'm getting minus 5 nights, then I'll bring it across in the night and I'll open it up in the day so that I can take advantage of as much light as possible, because my citrus production is all fruiting, and in the wintertime is when I'm harvesting. So I do want as much light as possible.
Makes sense.
Into the crop.
Yeah. And that's a fabric. It won't grow mold.
No,
is it a plasticky or woven?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Awesome. Okay. So that's a lot of thermal mass in there. Adobe walls, all earth, concrete blocks in here. Just helps. Keep the heat in. So that's awesome. Cool. Do you want to? Can we go see your other little last pool too that you bring up to a hotter temperature? Were you saying 40 Celsius?
Yeah, 40 Celsius. This pool I bring to 40. This is 4,500 gallons. This is an old swimming pool someone gave me, a 16-foot pool. I think it's 16 feet. And the bottom was rusted out of it. So I thought, now I can do. So we dug down 2 feet and put 3-inch insulation on the bottom, and then used sort of extra insulation around the sides. And then this 3-inch top. These pools are covered in the winter, so I'm not losing moisture. So this is covered underneath here with a pool bubble wrap.
Right.
And then so I'll heat this pool. It's very fast to heat this one to 40 centigrade. I'll start doing that a week before, if I see the forecast going to be really cold. And I'll bring it up to 40. And then at nighttime when it's cold, then I'll just flip a couple of these things off and push them to the side. Yep. And the heat just comes straight up. And then this circulation fan is bringing it. There's another fan over there. And then there's an old oil furnace that I put a radiator on top, took the burner out.
Yep.
And then it has a bit of extra heat that it runs through. It's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
But it works. If it's minus 15 out, my temperature in here will be probably about 1 degrees. Or 2.
Yeah.
Like I generally just aim for 1 or 2 degrees centigrade. So all of these trees are dealing with really cold environments. So I can't grow things like mango or really not even banana. I've tried everything, coffee, blah, 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 but
they just need that warmer.
I'm really interested in seeing what you can do with the minimal input. So I'm actually only burning between 1.5 to 2 quarts a winter.
Of wood.
Of
Yeah.
wood.
And
That's my heating. That's it.
That's your impact. And the greenhouse again is what are the dimensions of it, Jane?
It's 6,000 square feet.
6,000 square feet. Wow.
So you can see, like, that's the experiment I'm doing, is how to run something with minimal input. So, like, I'm not using fertilizers except for some foliars,
Yeah.
targeted foliars. And I'm just making compost and using that and just seeing how I do.
Awesome. Yeah. So I was, when I first heard that you had pools in here or something, I was worried, or how do you control the humidity? But to cover them up so you're not evaporating in the wintertime when you're closed up is awesome.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, you just roll up some of it to...
This I keep covered all the time.
This is covered all the time. Okay.
And so, like, because it's blackened out, and I might throw a bit of peroxide in here.
Okay. Yeah.
Every now and then, like looking at 50 parts per million or something. Just to keep it totally clean.
Nice.
And so I don't have algae or anything in that pool too. It's monitored for, I use hydrogen peroxide. I have a filtration system, and I have UV.
Yeah.
UV filter so that it's clean, good water for swimming. And then on top of these things, so I'm not wasting space, then I have passion fruit crops that grow like they're vines, and they take off all summer. And
that's a young plant that kind of...
a replacement plant.
Okay.
So,
coming back after the winter here.
Yeah.
So how far will that go, do you think?
That'll go all the way. They're vigorous as heck if I remember to water it.
Yeah. We lost ours because I frankly forgot to look after it. But,
yeah.
How many passion fruit do you get out here a year again?
Well, up to 2,000.
2,000 passion fruit.
Yeah. Yep. Then they're so good.
So good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then over here you can see, this is cardamom. And then you can see the flowers of the grapefruit. We're just entering flowering season now. It's pretty beautiful.
And is this part of, how old is this portion of the greenhouse?
This portion is 11 years.
11 years. And how small was it when you started with these? Like that? Okay.
Little guys.
So I've got to wait a while for mine? Yeah.
No, you'll get fruit. It's pretty fast. Like, these are pruned vigorously. And this is a Oro Blanco, like the old-fashioned yellow grapefruit.
Sorry, before we go, this type of orange, what is this guy?
This is a type of kumquat, actually.
Kumquat.
It's a mewa, very soft flesh, very sweet, and with, like all kumquats, the peel is much sweeter than the inside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I guess before we forget, pollination, you would go around with a brush, but you were mentioning the bugs are kind of taken over a little bit of that?
I was mentioning that, but these guys don't need to be pollinated.
They don't need?
The citrus doesn't need it. In fact, it's nice if they don't. They have less seeds.
Oh, nice.
But
yeah.
I bring I bring in bumblebees because of the avocados, because it's so cold in here.
Yeah.
Like, if I had this greenhouse at 15 degrees, I probably would get a better pollination. But I get a decent pollination, but I bring bumblebees in every year. And now is avocado flowering season.
Yeah.
And but I'm open vents, so I do get quite a few natural pollinators. I was mentioning to you that originally I had to pollinate all the passion fruit by hand, and I had to pollinate the American pawpaw and jujube, and now I have the different things I've figured out. The ants have figured out about passion fruit. They're pollinating them. And then I have other flies that are doing the pawpaw because they smell like rotting meat.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
it found its way. Yeah.
They educate themselves and they figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. That is so cool.
So here's the avocado tree that is in mid-flowering, and I won't know for another probably month what the take is. And you can come and see here what the fruit look like when they're... Where are they?
They're right here.
There they are.
So that to me looks like a large avocado, but you mentioned they're going to
they'll get probably at least, well, sometimes twice as big as that. And this tree, you can see the avocados in here. There's quite a few all around in the bottom.
Yep, I see.
And so we'll see if they set. And then here I would just do a quick little look at these guys and tell you about these little avocado trees. These are these little trees here. I ate the fruit, germinated the fruit, and then when they were 1.5 years old, then I grafted on some buds from, or a branch actually, from one of my other trees.
Yep.
So these are both grafted. The graft is right at the bottom. And
beautiful graft you did. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the graft right here. And the other one here is just as beautiful. So these trees popped right into flowering after the graft.
Yeah.
So the year after was the first flowering, set to fruit. So this is the way you go from a seedling to a productive plant in a very short period of time, is by doing a graft. Yeah. Otherwise, you're bypassing the teenage years.
Right. Yeah. So I did not know that. So I'm going to be chopping my avocado down, and remind me to take a cutting if you wouldn't mind. That'll be awesome. Yeah.
So that's exciting.
After from flowering to finished ripened avocado, it's quite a
1.5 years.
1.5 years.
You can take it off earlier, but you won't get as big a fruit.
Yeah.
You won't get as, like, these are top grade avocados. These are oily, nutty, really high quality. They grow slow, they grow beautifully, and I'm not just making that up.
Yeah.
Many people have told me that.
I believe you. Everything looks
so the
awesome.
quality's really high here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what are some other citrus that we're looking at? This is all 11-year portion?
Yeah, this is 11. This is a Rangpur lime. This is an orange-colored lime, and it's what Tanqueray gin is. That's what it uses. And
very cool.
Very nice, flavorsome. This is, that's a type of kumquat. There's no fruit on that one. This is a lemon, a Lisbon lemon. And you can see it's just fruiting time. There are lemons out and about that are around. This is a really fabulous orange. It's a Washington navel orange, and generally really high quality.
That's a full-size big orange?
Yep.
Navel? Yep.
Yep. And this is a young Meyer lemon. And
beautiful.
They're seen as very promiscuous high producers.
I have a Meyer lemon, and we do have lemons, and it's about that size. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have big ones like that, but they generally only grow about this tall. Here you can see these are a very wonderful variety of grapefruit called cocktail grapefruit.
Okay.
And I really highly recommend this one. It's very seedy, but it's a cross between a mandarin and a grapefruit. And it really produces a lot of very high quality fruit.
Is it a pink on the inside, like a grapefruit?
No, it's orange.
Orange. Very cool.
It's really nice. This
but
one
it kind of tastes like a grapefruit, or
but a sweet one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a cocktail grapefruit. It's worth looking for that variety. Then this is pink lemonade. So it's a lemon that's got a pink interior. It's loaded with flowers.
Incredible.
And this is bergamot. So this is one of the ones the chefs really love, because it's Earl Grey tea is made with this type of orange.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. And eau de cologne.
Okay.
Makes the most exquisite essential oil.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. This is tea, Camellia sinensis. So you can make green tea with this. And behind there are pistachios.
Pistachios. Wow.
And this is a great plant. This is a lemon guava.
A lemon
very
guava.
Very hardy. Very, very tasty.
Okay.
Worth growing.
We have a guava. I'm not sure if it's that variety, but we have had guavas. Yep, they're very good.
Yeah, this is, you can imagine, I'm eating these. It's 1 degree in here, and I'm eating these. They're ripening.
So awesome.
So they're a winter producer too. And then these are pistachios. Sorry, they're pomegranate.
Pomegranate.
Yeah.
Amazing. Have you had pomegranates yet?
Many.
Or many.
Yeah, many.
How old is this section of the? Or
This section is 6 years.
6 years, so younger. Okay.
Yeah. So, and you can imagine things are being pruned.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, that's right. In order for you to get a manageable height, you're always pruning the top. Does that make the tree bushier then? I guess it would.
Yeah, you want to open it up.
Opens it up.
Open it up, and these guys are close together. I don't know how long this is going to be good for. I don't know. It's been 11 years there. It's very tight. So these are...
They seem to be happy.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Yeah. This is fantastic, Jane. Yeah. So what do we got here? My wife is jealous of you. She hasn't seen it yet.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't clean it up first because it looks a bit messy.
No.
Okay, so this is the still that I'm using it. I got this in Portugal. I just ordered it online.
Yep.
And so the water goes in here, just
yep.
And then you load this area here, this cylinder here with whatever it is you're going to distill. So I'm using peels. Yep. I have used kaffir lime leaves. They're also really good. And so that gets loaded in even up to here. And then this thing here is hooked into this.
The condenser,
Yeah, and so this goes here. And so this has got a hose attached to it, and cold water comes in here and cools the steam. The steam's coming down here, down in here, and then coiling around the cold water. And then it comes out here, and it's called a hydrosol.
Yep.
It's the condensed steam, and in that is the oils, the essential oils. So then it goes into a glass separator. And this thing just drips into the separator, which we don't have here.
That's okay.
And so then the hydrosol goes off into jars, and the oil accumulates in that glass separator, and at the end you'll take the hydrosol and drain it off and end up with the essential oil, and it's powerful.
Oh, very
amazingly beautiful. But the hydrosol is also fabulous. It's really it's a scented water, and it's just like steam water. It's so good for your skin. It's good for many things. So both those things are really valued, and you can sell the hydrosol, you can sell the oils. All of it's worth something. So the neat thing about this is that I'm using the methane from the digester. I just have it, just turn the valve on, poof, I've got gas in here.
Just a standard burner.
Standard burner.
Amazing.
Of course you're adjusting it because of you're working with CH4, not CH8.
Right.
So you have to adjust things to get a good burn.
Yep.
And so then the benefit of burning in here, especially in the winter when all the fruit is producing, is that you're increasing the CO2 in the environment, which the trees are kind of starved for with it closed in the winter during the day.
Absolutely. I guess like literally when you buy a CO2 generator, it's just a natural gas burner. Yeah. And it doesn't exhaust. So it also, I mean, you know, when you're burning like that stuff, you're increasing the humidity in your greenhouse. Right. So you have to be careful. But so anyhow, this is a very positive aspect of burning in a greenhouse your own methane. Absolutely. That you're making yourself. That's amazing. Yeah. So great.
Yeah. So part of what I'm doing here is, because I'm just doing this by myself, is I'm trying to integrate my food into this production system so that I have like a type of arugula that is a perennial that's always producing, and I've got, you know, parsleys, and I've got different herbs that are growing in here, and mint, which is a deterrent for rats. If you have an issue, you can put like mint growing underneath avocados is a great way to confuse the rat so it doesn't know what's there.
Good solution.
Yeah, and so also like growing daikon radish to try to help the soil quality. So, and also as a cover. Yep. And then I've got asparagus in here that is just this throughout the greenhouse. I just kind of put them here and there, and they're traveling. And so I've got asparagus popping up places. And I just stick my veggies like peas and beans and tomatoes and cukes and anything that I like to eat. My strawberry patch is in here now underneath the trees. And so that's trying to do the food forest thing.
Yeah.
In a way where it's less work for me.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
then this is my banana. Now, I'm in a situation where it really is too cold for me to get banana fruit in this greenhouse so far. I haven't figured it out. I will, but I haven't yet. But I've had this dwarf Namois. I had originally a dwarf Cavendish, and it just melted practically because, below 5 degrees centigrade, it just is just not interested in existing. Yeah. So this one, I went to an international Musa group, Musa as in banana, and asked for opinion of the best high quality tasting banana that's cold hardy. And so everybody said dwarf Namois.
I'd never even heard of it, but you said you're gracious enough to give me one of those little pups there.
Yeah, so I've given pups to a few people, and one of the people, they're getting their first set of gorgeous bananas.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah.
And I can't wait to taste them. So I don't mind that I can't grow them. I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
But so yeah, happy to give you one and see how you do. And it'll make a zillion babies, and you'll be. Oh,
I'm always giving away pups. I don't know how many I've given away for my other varieties. They're like a weed if you can get the the nighttime temperature up a little bit.
So this one here, we were good with 2 very large ones until the end of February, and then we had a cold dip again, and it was they said forget it. So this one is even dead here.
Yeah, shoot.
But this one is not dead yet.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I've got so much fun stuff going on here. I don't sort of get upset too much.
This is more impressive, Jane, than bananas. Bananas are easy. That's harder for me. Like that is impressive. So
there you go.
Just briefly, you're really into soil biology that I'm just starting to learn about, but you have edible mushroom funguses and all the good stuff throughout the greenhouse kind of thing.
Yeah. So I have, this is one of the mushrooms that I have is King Stropharia, and it's an edible mushroom. It lives on wood chips. It's I think saprophytic, but I bought some spore and I threw it in a compost of mine. One of my compost, I use Johnson Sioux bioreactors for compost. You can look that up. I have a YouTube on it. You can check it out.
I will put the link in the description for myself as well. Yeah.
And so I just put some spore in there, and then I spread those chips, that compost, through the greenhouse. And now I have a constant supply of King Stropharia for eating mushrooms with food.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's would you say the soil in here or your management compared to an outside garden is very similar?
I think it is.
You're adding compost that you're making and the same types of stuff, right?
Got the same problems with weeds and mulches and all the rest of it. But here I started with this subsoil, and I sent a soil sample in a couple of months ago, and I did a 12-inch core, and I did about 15 cores running through the middle of the greenhouse, and it used to be very little topsoil in here and organic matter. My organic matter was, what was it? It was like 9%. It was like
very good.
Really, really good.
Excellent.
And that's a 12-inch core. We're not talking a 3-inch core. So that's what I'm working at, but it's hard because, as I was telling you before, I have these pockets of good soil, and then in between it I have straight subsoil.
Right.
So it's been an issue, and that's why the daikon radish is trying to break down into that subsoil, that hard clay.
And how long have you been doing, like, when did you start the greenhouse, Jane? And you started out with that subsoil to growing your soil so good.
Yeah, we built this greenhouse in 1993.
93. Okay.
And we scraped all of the topsoil off at that time to, create a flat greenhouse for hydroponics with like, you know,
Yep.
one, like a 10-inch drop from 100 feet, you know, just like
Oh, okay.
for the system to run. And so this was a highly efficient lettuce and basil greenhouse for
Hydroponics, the whole thing?
hydroponics, the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I in 2011, I decided to turn half of it into the orchard.
Awesome. Okay.
No, sorry, 2014. No, 2014. That's
2014.
right. That's
Okay.
when I started this project.
11 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, and so that was that half, but I still was doing lettuce production.
Here's a question, because you were, was it outside of Calgary? You
Yeah,
were
west
managing
of Calgary.
that was a hydroponic setup too?
Yeah, we set that up in. We were one of the first hydroponic lettuce growers in Canada.
Okay.
We were set that up in 1983 was our first greenhouse, and we did a energy efficient below ground construction with huge water cisterns for stabilizing temperature.
Yeah.
And it was a 4,000 square foot experimental greenhouse, and we bent the arches ourselves. It was a 40-foot span. It was insane.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be really hard to harvest in it, but the quality was spectacular.
Awesome.
And at that time, like, it was the only real living green in the grocery store. Everybody's eyes just, wow!
For sure.
So we expanded 3 or 4-fold 2 years later.
Yeah.
And went into really high-tech computerized systems.
Wow. I was going to ask the differences, because you've had a hydroponic one here versus somewhere much colder, like Alberta,
Yeah.
just past the Rocky Mountains, getting into the plains, maybe. What's the biggest? Is it harder here? It's harder there because it's colder, or what do you think? Or you probably had more sun in Alberta.
It was actually easier there.
It was
to
easier
grow
there.
because we had so much sunlight. Energy's cheap.
Yep.
Right? So it was easier to control the environment there. And here, you know, you listen, it's raining right now.
Yes.
It rains a lot, the humidity's high, and I really had to change the production style here. We thought we knew what we were doing, and we came here and we ran into a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah.
And so it learned how to do it, like move from forced air to passive airflow. I'm a great believer in passive airflows and reducing fan.
Okay.
I hate exhaust fans.
Yep. I hear
mean,
you.
you know, you need a bit of air exchange, like especially the air-to-air heat exchangers.
Yep. That's my biggest problem I have to address. But in the summertime, I can open it up enough. There's no fans going. It
I
passively
love that. Yeah,
works.
it's beautiful.
And
the
yeah,
plants like that so much better than big fans.
yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. Actually, that's one question. In the wintertime, is it just the fans over your thermal mass? Do you have to move the plants around a little bit, though?
That, you know, you don't need much airflow. And
No?
the way that we learned about airflow was by getting strips of plastic, just thin strips of plastic, hang them up everywhere.
And see how they...
And see how they move, and you can design and change your fan placements or how much velocity you need by just watching those things gently flowing. And just that's how you can tweak it. Now, of course, it's very difficult if you've got big plants. But
Yes, yeah.
normally we don't have big plants when we've set up our systems.
Jane, it has been a pleasure. I've come a long way from Saskatchewan. After learning a few things from you, I don't feel so bad about dealing with my extreme cold because I have some sun. You're doing some amazing things that I probably can't do where I'm from, outside and inside. I've learned a lot. You're a wealth of information. Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
Okay, my website is thegardensaltspring.com, and there's a link to the YouTubes on the website.
I'll put those in the description.
And one of the things I have on the website is a list of resources of books that I think are good, and I should update it because there's so many fabulous resources out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've been a big resource for me, so I've got I'm doing kind of the main infrastructure. I'm looking forward to some of the biology and fine tuning, but you've gave me some very good ideas. So
it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, and thank you for having me as well. If you're ever in Saskatchewan, anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out Jane's videos. All the links will be in the descriptions as well. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. So I just left Jane Squier's and made it to the Salt Spring Island ferry terminal and going back to Schwartz Bay and then the mainland for a 20-hour drive home back to the prairies. Jane is a wealth of information. So again, lots of videos will be in the description. Like an incredible wealth. I could talk to her for days and I learned a lot chatting with her. But it was interesting. Very different climates. She has her set of problems on the island. Everybody thinks, oh, you can grow anything outside. The ocean keeps it warmer in the winter, more temperate, but it also, the nights cool off in the summertime. And in the wintertime, it's very rainy and dreary, not as much sunshine as I get. So she can do certain things, and there's ways that she can mitigate her operation, but there's very similar things that I do, just ever so slightly different on the prairies. Some of the things we do outside, like heavy wood chip mulch, syntropic food forests, and some of the things are very similar, but she can grow elderberries. I can't. I can have a better chance of growing a pawpaw in a microclimate outside than she does, actually, because the ocean cools off the nighttime temperatures where a pawpaw isn't going to work outside for her, where it will in Saskatchewan. Can you believe that? Jane was an incredible wealth of knowledge. I can't wait to learn some of the soil biology stuff she was telling me about. And it was a pleasure I would have driven to just meet her without doing a video. Now, she's like me, very private, so don't be tracking us down and showing up at her doorstep. All her workshops, she has a waiting list like you wouldn't believe because she's such a good wealth of knowledge. Obviously, she has a waiting list. All links are in the description for some things that Jane has done, videos that I haven't even watched at the time of me recording this, but I'm going to dig into because it's all very good information. That biodigester, there is a separate video from this, but it's incredible. And yeah, thank you very much for watching and wish me luck on a long drive back to the prairie homestead. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Hope you enjoyed that video. So back in Saskatchewan in the Arcopia greenhouse here, my greenhouse. So we got Cavendish on there. But thank you very much, Jane. This is the home of the little pup that you give me here. So that's the 4th variety banana, and I'm super excited. Again, what a pleasure it was to visit your awesome greenhouse on Salt Spring. Thank you again.